Okay, hello, and this is what month is it? October, the October meeting of the EPEC um, study project team. We have a lot going on, and I'll just jump right into it since we did the pleasantries. We were last time I left you, the biggest impediment to the project was identifying the the partners to help us with the recruitment of patients. So Dr. Haddad and AIN were the first to step up, and through that communication from them, I reached out to UIC and said, okay, let's get the ball rolling on this. Let CMS know that we have at least one partner and keep it moving. And CMS said, I'm sorry, UIC said, can you get all 350 patients from AIN? And I said, no. I mean, I know they have a lot of patients, but patients that are brand new to dialysis who have not already been referred to a transplant center, getting all of the 350 of those from one partner is going to be very difficult. They said, then wait until you get all four on board. So my response to them was, I have no idea how long that is going to take. So Fresenius did a review internally and said, we're good with it. Here is a document that we need signed by your legal, and it's a contract for research. To which legal says we can't sign it until we have a letter of intent from them. So I said, okay, let's go to DaVita and see what they say. DaVita said, we need for you to reach out to every one of our medical directors. Um, I just heard the beep and letting Melissa in. Okay. You need to reach out to all of the medical directors within the geography of the city in which you want to pull patients from our centers to be participants in your research. That ended up being 62 physicians. So I had to reach out to all 62 of them. Um, they did allow for me to do it by email. However, we had to give them enough time to at least respond if they wanted to respond. But I put a read receipt on the email and a but some terminology in there that said, if you don't respond within 2 weeks, we're just going to assume that you assent to this research being done within your area. We did get some responses back. Some of them were very congratulatory about the research, and some of them were not so much. They were, I think the word offended did pop up in a couple of the responses. They said that we are taking care of our patients appropriately, and we are offended that you're saying that unbiased transplant professionals would help patients get better matched with the transplant program. So I said, I haven't heard that, from any of the physicians on this call. I haven't. This was the first time I ran into that kind of pushback. even among the community general nephrologists that I've talked to. I hadn't heard that. So I had to make time to meet with these physicians and see if I can allay their concerns. I don't know if DaVita will allow for the research to go forward at all the other sites if these two say no, or if I can go with the other sites and just not recruit from these two sites that have expressed some dismay.
Ernest, sorry to interrupt, but did you send one to Marquette Park?
I don't know areas, I know names, but
because
I do
I'm the director there, and I didn't get anything.
Is Marquette Park north?
You're looking. I thought you were the south side is where you were.
We are, yeah. So we excluded all of them that were
Oh
north.
no, they said south side. Marquette Park is on 6535 Southwestern Avenue, so it's the south side.
And that's DaVita, not
No, it's Fresenius. It's one of our units. I'm the director there.
So we only had to do this for DaVita. Fresenius did not require this.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I misspoke that.
As much as going on right now, I completely understand some misunderstanding. So yeah, we sent it to all of those 62 DaVita clinics in the south and west sides. So the request is out to have some time, and one of the people who dissented is actually the executive director of the ESRD 10 network, which I told him ESRD Network 10 was one of our first project partners, and they were going to help us recruit before CMS said that they could not recruit for us. So Audrey Broadus is the executive director of the ESRD Network. Dr. I think it's Bozeman. Dr. Bozeman is the medical director, I think, of the ESRD network. So I put a note out to him to say, I'd love to talk about this. And I didn't make it known that I'm a patient when I sent this out because I'm functioning in my capacity as a researcher. But perhaps just letting him know, look, I respect all of you guys in this. The profession kept me alive, and I appreciate that. But there might be a better way, and we're just testing whether or not this is a better way. So we'll see. If anybody has any suggestions on what type of tact to take in these conversations, I am all ears to make sure that I don't further offend anybody. Well, if you come up with anything, most of you have my my contact information. Just shoot me a note, and we'll try to get through it. So beyond that, UIC also is requesting a letter of intent, budget, budget justification, and whether or not each one of the 5 transplant centers outside of UIC are willing to use the UIC IRB, or if this needs to go through the IRB of any of the 5 other transplant centers that are a part of this. So I have the finance director for the project and somebody from the Office of Sponsored Programs working on a draft letter of intent that I will send to the representatives from the transplant programs. And if you guys could either forward it to your research team or let me know what the contact is for your research team, I can send that to them because it can't the letters that I already got from the transplant centers, those will not uh, uh, they will not stand in the place of the letter of intent. So they tell me that all of the transplant centers have a standard letter of intent because you guys are all R1s. If we want to use yours or if you want to use ours, whichever one is going to be easiest, that's what we'll do. But I will have individual emails out to each one of you guys with this document, this draft document attached, and a draft budget. Now, this is only for $5,000. And Dr. Benedetti and I pushed back saying it's $5,000, but apparently there's no threshold. If we were giving you $3, they would still want a budget on how you were going to spend that money. So we backed out the overhead. So we said we're giving you $5,000, but 4,600 of it is attributable to the research. And as a reminder, the purpose of the $5,000 was to offset the cost of looking through the questionnaire that we're going to send, to ask you guys what are the pros of your organization and any of the information that we found in the data from OPTN over the last 3 years. If there's anything in there that is stratified that says, older patients have been getting transplanted here, we'll ask for any kind of confirmation on that, or if there's a dissent on that, to let us know what that is. So there's the $5,000 is to offset the workload, assuming that you guys are not going to be doing it, that there's might be data analytics people involved with it, just so that we could take care of the cost of that. So they were asking for 1% of your effort to be taken out of that 5,000, and then whatever's left to be allocated to the data analytics on whatever standard rate you guys have for data analytics and research. So all of that will be explained in the email as soon as I get this draft letter of intent that I was told we are working on post tense. Any questions thus far? Okay, so the biggest issue that I'm having right now is that CMS wants us to get the new consultant engaged with the project like yesterday. And I said to them that they're asking for 3 documents, but the UIC department research apparatus is asking for about 30 documents before they will send the 3 documents the CMS is asking for and that we already have prepared to send to them. They want all of the letter of intents and the all 4 of the recruitment partners. They want everything to be in line and ready to go before they respond to CMS with these 3 documents. So Dr. Benedetti and I have been pushing back on that for the last few days to say, tell us the bare minimum of what you need as UIC. We'll give you that so that these 3 documents you will release us to send to CMS so that we can get all the rest of this going. And you'll see Melissa McQueen is on the call. She is the president of Transplant Families, which is our new consultant firm. She is en route right now, so I'm not going to ask for her to talk. But there's a little hello everyone in the chat. But as soon as we can get CMS the documentation on transplant families, then CMS will allow for us to move forward with the rest of the research. So it's a bit of a push and pull right now between me and the Department of Surgery and um, the the research apparatus, the Office of Sponsored Programs and the IRB and all of that stuff um, outside of the Department of Transplant. So we're working on it. I have no idea how long it's going to take. At the best case scenario that I'm getting from the Office of Sponsored Programs is 2 weeks. And I said, you know, if you were asking for me to get a letter from the 6 physicians that are representing these organizations, I'm sure I could get that turned around in 2 weeks. But asking for us to send it through their lawyers and their research apparatus, I have a hard time believing that we'll get it in 2 weeks. And the process that Fresenius and DaVita have us going through, both of those have legal ramifications as well, contracts and subcontracts. And I have a hard time believing that that will be anything less than 1 to 2 months, which will put us definitely behind on this project. It's already about 2 months behind. We should have started recruiting patients 2 months ago. So that was us starting the recruitment early. So the data that I got suggested that if we wanted 350 participants, which would be statistically significant given the population of patients new to transplant, the incident population from the south and west sides of Chicago, that would be about 13% of all patients. So that's over the course of a year, according to the USRDS. Right now, we've got a year until the end of our funding. So it's not impossible for us to still get this done before the end of the funding. But if we have to wait 2 months before we could even start engaging patients and recruiting patients, that will make it very much harder for us to hit that number. So, hello, Millie. So our goal is to get UIC to bend a bit and allow for us to get this release off of us from CMS so that all the other things can start to fall in place. Until then, I'm not getting paid. Nobody's getting paid. It is difficult right now, but I am still fighting the good fight, and I will do everything that I can to get this rectified before the next time that we talk. So I truly envisioned being able to send you guys being the representatives of the transplant centers in Chicago, I expected to be able to send you guys some questions from the OPTN information that we got back, but I was told by the IRB that I couldn't even share that, even though it's your data. I can't share that with you guys until all of this other stuff is cleaned up. And it's de-identified information, but still, I can't send any data from UIC to the other transplant centers until this is all cleared up. So that's why you guys haven't heard from me as of yet. Not to mention, it's just me, right? We don't have a consultant working on this right now. So everything is just Ernest pushing and pulling until we can get UIC and CMS and Department of Transplant at UIC to see things the same way. That's a lot of talking. Millie, I am recording, so the part before you jumped on, you'll be able to look at that later and see where I started in all of this. If you're talking, you are muted.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear all your heartaches, but that's the price of research. And hopefully we will sort of jump over these hoops fairly soon.
I've heard that before, that this is the price of research, and I think my response to this is that patient-centered research, patient outcomes research, clinical effectiveness research with communities, these are all big terms right now. They're maybe even reaching buzzword terms at this point. Yet to actually empower a patient to do this type of research, we got to figure out a better way. Like, because I am a researcher, because I have a PhD, because I've done other research before, it's still hard for me. And I couldn't imagine a patient that doesn't have a PhD being able to do some of this stuff, which just means that we're raising the bar and further marginalizing people who want to inject into the research milieu. And that every time that I run into a new obstacle, that's the heartache that I have, because other patients see what I'm doing just in the different areas that I run in, and they say, oh my God, I would love to do that. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if you would. I don't know if anybody really would.
Well, I think that you're going to need to have a change of culture in research, right? Because this is the kind of research that you will love to get off the ground, because it's patient empowerment, patient education, and outcomes will never improve until that happens.
Yeah, I've heard from the Office of Sponsored Programs and the IRB at UC, we don't understand what you're doing. We don't understand your
That's
research. And
that's part of the problem. I will not say that so happily.
I think I am definitely looking at this from the point of view of a patient. And part of my experience as a patient was part of the impetus for this. But, in this room, when I talk to all of you guys, you're like, yeah, I get it. And even when it was, I don't know if that'll work, at least everybody said, I get it, let's try it. And I need to get the other entities to that point, and that's hard to do. But I'm on it. I saw your note, Melissa. Thank you. And I'm not even sure it's persistence now. Now it's just running my head up against the wall, understanding at some point my head is going to go through that wall. So we'll keep pushing. So, Millie, for you and for Fidel and for Tim, I appreciate your patience. I know I said that, end of summer, we would start having patience for you guys. It'll be as soon as possible. It's just not now.
Well, I just hope we get started, because once we get started, you will see how quickly
Mm-hmm.
things are going to move, but it's hard to deal with delayed uh, delayed expectations and also delayed satisfaction. That's the worst part of it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it will. I'm pretty sure.
Now you
You're
sound like Dr.
tried and tested.
I will keep pushing. I want to open the floor and give you guys a chance to ask any questions before I stop recording. Okay, so again, you guys have my contact information if you do have questions, but now what you will be getting from me is the request to get these letter of intents and budgets and budget justifications in front of the right people at your organization. And that email will be within the next 7 days. As soon as I get it from finance and OSP, I will get it out to you guys.
Awesome.
Now I will stop recording.